What's up, y'all? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Married to Medicine. This is season 11, and I want to say episode 13, but I could be wrong, but it'll be correct in the title card below. And what I want to say is, I'm going to send Greg and Sweet Tea a bill for the pain that they caused me to listen to that man sing, because the secondhand embarrassment and the way my body tensed up from cringing so hard set me free. I can't. But let's get into this video. So y'all know sometimes before we get into the review, we get a little spicy, just a little bit, okay? And I just got a few things to talk to y'all about. So Dr. Simone was on Watch What Happens Live with Stacy, and it was actually kind of entertaining. It was funny to find out that Walter, Kenya Moore's boyfriend for season 5 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, is actually Cecil's nephew. Wild to me. I talked about that in the spicy corner for Married to Medicine, so check it out. But there were a few clips that I found interesting. So the first clip I want to play for you guys is... So it was a clip about the reunion. Andy ended up asking Simone who is in the hot seat, and I was actually surprised by her answer. So let me play the clip for you guys.
Who was on the hot seat at the Married to Medicine reunion?
I would say King and Gregory were in the hottest seats of them all.
Yeah, that men's segment was pretty interesting.
Boy, it was too much, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that with the guys.
Yes.
Normally we just drink and have a good time.
Yeah. I mean,
So I expected Dr. Gregory to be in the hot seat based off of how this episode went, but I was actually surprised at King being in the hot seat. So I wonder if something else happens as the season continues, or if the whole entire male segment was about the fight that took place on the sandbar. So the next question was posed to Dr. Simone about Phaedra departing from the show, and I want to play that for you guys.
and Phaedra's conversation.
I think Phaedra gave us an unnecessary and unfit hard time. I think she was ready to be back with Portia, ready to be back as frickin' frack. And so just say that, but don't leave out calling us mean girls when you're headed to the #1 mean girl.
Are you calling Portia the #1 mean girl?
She's mean. She's tried to fight on social media. She snatched Kenya down. You were there.
Yes.
So that was Dr. Simone's answer to the question. Well, looks like today on the Breakfast Club, which would be Wednesday, Portia was asked about what Dr. Simone said on Watch What Happens Live, and this was her response.
Simone is reaching at straws. I don't know. I think Simone is full of it, just like that piece of doo-doo she had on her head. Like, she on her show, sometimes when you're on reality TV, right, she's an OBGYN. Mm-hmm. She started on the show and, she was a regular person and now on the camera. Sometimes when you start lacking in story, you start lacking as a person individually, you start just reaching and coming at bitches who are on point. So she's lacking. So when people lack, they try to deflect and come to you.
We didn't see
I've
Mean Girl
never
in the
even
first
met
episode.
this person.
No, I wasn't Mean Girl.
You never even met her?
I've never even met her.
Wow.
But I've never met her.
So let's be honest, Portia is a mean girl. Y'all may love her, and I used to be a Portia stan, but Portia is a mean girl. I appreciate what she gives to reality television, but let's call a spade a spade. The way they slut-shame Kenya for seasons, the way that she treats Shamia, the way that she treated her cousin on Portia Family Matters, actually both her cousins, R.I.P. to Londi, the way that she walked up into Fallon's house and walked out with her husband and her henna say, shouts out to Rodney the Voice. I just feel like, girl, what Simone said stands. Now, saying that she's lacking, she's lacking in a storyline, but lacking in substance is crazy when she contributes way more to society by being an OBGYN than you do by being a reality star. Let's call a thing a thing. Like, And what you did to Candy, you and Phaedra is crazy work. Honestly, what Simone said was true, that Phaedra wanted to leave the show now that she has somewhere else to go, which is where she ultimately wanted to be, was Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is her way of leaving. But to broad stroke everyone and say that they're all mean girls when everybody on reality TV has shown their hand in their mean ways is crazy work to me. But hey, it is what it is.
Also was Rhonda H. said, Dr. Simone, why do you all constantly give Heavenly a pass for her bad behavior? She starts most of the conflict and y'all shove it under the rug.
So nobody is giving Heavenly a pass for the bad behavior. We call her in her when she came at me in Hilton Head, I gave her Nobody is giving her a pass.
Okay.
What do you think about her recent comments?
Bad, horrible, horrific, bad. And she needs to get off of social media.
And see, Simone is saying what I've been saying. All of the women have said something to Heavenly and gotten with Heavenly. The first person to really give it to Heavenly was Jackie. When Jackie told Heavenly, I like the way my body look. When I take my clothes off, I don't look like a busted can of biscuits. Checked her first season. Mariah checked Heavenly about pressure washing her house. Quad has told Heavenly, girl, you keep playing with me. That's the last time it will ever be cool between me and you. And has said how she felt. Contessa has said things to Heavenly. Simone be cussing out Heavenly every chance she get when Heavenly piss her off. Toya has checked Heavenly. Girl, even Anila told Heavenly, girl, at least I don't, now if I would have called you Miss Piggy, got with Heavenly. Who else? Carrie got with Heavenly. Like, all of these ladies have gotten with Heavenly. Girl, Sweet Tea gets with Heavenly. The issue is, I think fans want to see, who don't like Heavenly, want to see Heavenly grovel for forgiveness, break down, and really get outside of herself. But I think Heavenly has enough control on when she's filming the show to never let the women see her sweat. I think the only person that never really got with Heavenly was Lisa Nicole Cloud. Because even that one lady, I can't remember her name, she had the pixie cut. I think it was season 2 or 3. And I feel like she was a friend of, and she was a doctor's wife. She checked Heavenly. Everybody has checked Heavenly at points in times. The issue is, I think fans want to see a different reaction from Heavenly, but Heavenly always laughs things off, or she shakes it off, but it never really like eats away at her. I think some people would be satisfied with. I think that's what's the issue, because I told y'all before, the ladies check Heavenly. It's just that Heavenly don't be caring. And I think the only people that have the power to really get at Heavenly is production, if you ask me. So the last thing we're going to talk about is 2 tweets coming from Quad and Heavenly. So Heavenly quote tweeted a Twitter user by the name of Slim that said, Dr. G doesn't want to press charges because King charged at him. He wants to file those charges in hopes that Quad is hurt by King's punishment as well. Hashtag MarriedToMed. And Heavenly quote tweeted this person by saying he wanted to prevent King from filming. So then Quad said, epic failure. They cried wolf. Meanwhile, they got military moves. Hashtag MarriedToMed. So that means okay, I thought Sweet Tea was no longer a part of the military. I thought she was retired. So is she about to move? Like, is she going to even be a part of the show, especially if she did get military moves? Because I'm thinking she getting stationed somewhere else. That's interesting. But let's move on to the review, y'all. So I forgot to tell y'all, I did the drama video on last Saturday, and I spoke about Quad's interview with Virtual Reality T, where she expressed her feelings about Simone being a traitor, Contessa straddling the fence, and about Sweet Tea and Gregory. So I'll put that in the description box below. Y'all know I try my best to timestamp my videos. So there is a Married to Medicine timestamps in the comment section in the pinned comment. So definitely check out that video. So now let's get into the review. So let's talk about this episode. I thought the opening was actually like really cute to see the doctors like reminiscing with their clients. So we see Simone with a girl that she helped deliver, and it looks like she's probably like 14 or 15. It was such a cute scene, and they had a cute giggle. Then we see Scott with his kids in the kitchen with Contessa, and we find out that a girl that he helped deliver actually sent him a picture that I guess her family took of her after, being being born, and she was letting him know that he delivered her 20 years ago. I thought that was a cute full circle moment. And then Brat and Judy, I totally forgot that Brat was pregnant and had that little boy. And so we see baby True, and he looks adorable. And I wish they would go back to showing us scenes of the doctors actually administering care. I know after the pandemic, they kind of got away from that because it was very dark. Like the doctors went through some things, okay? And also they had to adhere to certain guidelines, so they probably weren't just letting producers and cameras into operating rooms or into patient rooms. But I hope they get back to showing some type of like outreach that the doctors do, because I used to enjoy seeing them do that when they would go on their like couples trip. They would do outreach to the community that they were visiting. So I hope they get back to that. So the episode like really picks up at Toya and Eugene's house. When I tell you Toya is thick. R.I.P. Beat God. R.I.P. to him. But I was like, oh my God, Toya. Like, Toya's body is T. And I think Toya's like 47. She looks amazing. And that, when I tell you, I said, the back look nice. The booty is bootying. I said, the body, okay? The body. Girl, 10s across the board. Oh my God, Toya. I said, Eugene ain't never leaving that, okay? So Toya's in the kitchen making breakfast for Eugene. It looked like she was doing like sausage and bacon. And she asked Eugene if he reached out to Gregory. And Eugene is like, no. Eugene's like, nah. So we see Eugene in his dual confessional with Toya, where he basically says that he really didn't like the way that Eugene left the couples trip, but he understands that some people got to get away. Like, you don't want to keep poking the bear. And so then Eugene was just like, he was just going to give Gregory space, because he's like, you just don't want to keep poking a bear when someone's upset. And so Toya's like, it ain't like the bear's on cocaine. Mind you, y'all, Cocaine Bear is hilarious. If you got Peacock, because I think it is on Peacock, I saw it in the movie theaters off of Edible. Amazing, okay? Amazing. It was such a fun movie to watch, okay? And then I actually watched it not on Edible. Still laugh. It's basically like, it's set in the 80s. It's like mocking the 80s in a sense, because it does all the 80s tropes. But I hope they come out with Cocaine Bear Part 2, or no, like 2, because the first one, I had so much fun in the movies with my friends. We were laughing the whole entire time. It was such a good time. So if you got Peacock, I think it's on Peacock, definitely check it out, especially if it's just you and your friends trying to kick it and y'all didn't really have nothing to do. Y'all would get a good laugh out that movie, okay? So we then see this scene where we go to Heavenly's house, and it was funny watching her do this like huge puzzle, because I have one of my best friends is obsessed with 3D puzzles, and her kitchen table is always littered with puzzle pieces. So I thought that was kind of cool that Heavenly does humongous puzzles. My mom loves puzzles as well. So Quad is going over to her house, and Heavenly's like, girl, you just can't be walking into my house. Girl, what if me and Damon was getting it popping? We empty nesters now. I said, I was with Quad. If y'all was getting it done, y'all was not doing it on the grand piano. Like, y'all was not going to be busting it down like that. I said, yeah, Quad, I'm with you. So she ends up asking Quad, are you traumatized about what happened? And Quad has basically said, girl, that whole situation was an entire fool. Like, the whole trip to Key West was a mess. They flash back to them arguing at the vibe check game. And then, King and Gregory getting into it at the sandbar. She just said, it got so dark so quickly, and we don't have time for that. And we need to kind of set boundaries with each other. So then it goes back to Toya and Eugene. And Toya ends up saying that their 16th wedding anniversary is coming up, and she wants to throw a party. And so Eugene is making fun of Toya, because Toya loves to throw herself a party because she likes spending money. Toya definitely is living the like housewife, rich and fabulous lifestyle. She really is like, girl, my man makes money and I'm going to spend it. I make a few money and I'm going to spend it as well, okay? And so I thought it was cute when they flashed back to I remember the Halloween party. I actually liked that one. And the party where they were painting the naked men, that was one of my favorite parties, based off of all the women being like, when the guy dropped his pants and they all saw how big he was. That was fun. That actually looked like a fun party to be at. So Toya is like, girl, it's a blessing, to be married to the same person for 16 years and still have a smile on your face. I want to celebrate. And Eugene said, okay, Toya. Okay. I do think Toya and Eugene love each other. Toya just has this like banter. Like, we all think Toya can't stand Eugene, but she don't play about that man. Because she was over it when they called that man Eugina and was coming at him. She do not play about Eugene. So I thought that was cute. So then Toya ends up saying that she wants everybody to be together. She wants to invite Greg, Quad, King, and Letitia, but she just doesn't want any problems. And she doesn't want to have to pick and choose between either party. And so Eugene ends up saying that right now, I think the best approach is for Quad and Gregory not to be around each other. He's happy that they're not together. He brings up how they know how to touch and like press each other's buttons. But he just feels like space is what's needed. But Toya's just like, I understand that, but she doesn't want to alienate anybody from the group. So we go back to Quad and Heavenly at Heavenly's house, and Quad ends up saying, let's have a ladies' night. And Heavenly's like, girl, I don't know about that because I don't want no drama. She's like, no, I'm not going to invite Phaedra. And because Quad is like, Phaedra says she don't want to be a part of this group, so I'm not about to extend myself to her. And she was like, I don't really want to be around Sweet Tea, so I just want to invite the girls and we just have a good time and reconnect and decompress and just have fun. So Heavenly ends up saying, I think it's time that y'all take some space, basically saying King, Quad, and Gregory and Letitia need some space. So the next scene we see is of the couples meeting up at this dance studio, wondering why they are at this dance studio. And so Toya lets it be known that she wants to have a Bridgerton theme wedding anniversary. We see Kieran and Anila. Anila looks really good with that like bob cut. And Kieran, he done got a little fluffy because that shirt was tight. And I said, Kieran, you need to go a size up. I don't know if he beefing up, but I said, I mean, he don't look bad, but I'm like, that shirt was too tight, sir. Too tight. So they're learning how to do the waltz. And I like how Eugene was like, at every black function, there is a line dance. People either doing the wobble, the electric slide, the biker shuffle. You got all these other, and that new dance that I think they do on trail rides, the fan dance. I want to learn that so badly, but it looks so complicated because like most line dances follow the pattern of the electric slide, but it adds extra steps. The fan dance, I feel like is extra because people be spinning, hitting the fan, spinning, hitting the fan. And I'd be like, okay, how many spins do we do? But I need to learn it because it looks so much fun. So Toya ends up passing out these like invitations that are in the style of the narration of Bridgerton. And she's also wondering where's King and Quad, where's Gregory and Letitia. And Heavenly lets it be known that King is not coming and Quad's not coming because Quad says she's not going to come without King. So Toya is kind of annoyed because she's like, the room is big enough for these two couples to be here and nothing happening, and nobody's gonna let anything happen. She's like, they need to grow up. But I feel like I would be with Toya if this was days, like maybe weeks after what happened. Like it only seems like it's only been maybe like a week after what happened. So tensions are still pretty high. So right now I would just take it on the chin, but also still extend an invitation to both parties if I wanted them to be there. So Steve shows up without Mimi. I know Steve was like, girl, we gonna keep this check. Okay. We trying to get in good with these people. A Bravo check is a nice check. And I agree. Keep your check, Steve. Keep your check. So Toya finally lets everybody know about it being a Bridgerton themed party. All the couples are like, oh, that's cute. Now, mind you, I never really got into Bridgerton. I watched season 1 almost all the way through, and then I fell off on it. I did watch part of season 3 with Penelope and Colin, but the spinoff that got me was Queen Charlotte. When I tell you I was so locked in on Queen Charlotte, I just really liked the main character, the girl, like Queen Charlotte, the girl that played Queen Charlotte. I just liked the way she portrayed the character. But there's 2 scenes that had me crying on Queen Charlotte. And mind you, I don't even get into like romantic shows. They don't really do it for me. But when they were arguing, when he was trying to push her away, like not trying to see her because, everybody was trying to because of his mental state and his mental illness. And she was like, I will tell you where you are. Like, answer me, Charles. Do you love me? No, it was George. Do you love me? And when that man screamed yes in such a like desperate way, because he really genuinely loved her, because she saw past the way that the world would perceive him and was treating him, I was in tears watching this scene. I was like, oh my God. And then at the end, when oh my gosh, at the end, when they both go underneath the bed and George is like, did you go over the wall? And she was like, yes, I cried. I was like, oh my God. Yes, she went over the wall because she loved you. Oh, Queen Charlotte was so good. It was so good. Oh my gosh. That's the only Bridgerton like material I will eat up. But I do like Bridgerton parties. Now, as long as they not scams. I did do a chitty chat video about that scam that happened during the summer. I'll put the thumbnail on screen. Definitely check out the playlist that I have in my chitty chat playlist because it's there. But Bridgerton parties actually look really nice and fun. They always look so beautiful with all the flowers and stuff. So I do think this is a good anniversary party. So Toya tells everybody, Heavenly and Simone are like ragging on the invitations because they was like, we know Toya didn't write this. And Simone said AI did they big one with this and they laugh about it. So then Toya ends up saying like she needs to figure out how they're going to get King, Quad, Gregory, and Sweet Tea to come to the event because she would like for everybody to come. So then Contessa ends up bringing out, and we also need to invite Phaedra. Nobody really cares about Phaedra. I feel like after Phaedra made it known that like she no longer wanted to hang out with the group was just kind of like, okay, girl, bet, because we don't want to hang out with you either. And I was like, well, it is what it is. I feel like this is adding more insult to injury for Phaedra because even though at the end we'll see Jackie trying to ask her to come back, it doesn't seem like nobody is fighting for her to be there. So maybe it makes it easier for her to leave. I don't know. But I'm glad that they don't care because I wouldn't care either. So we then see Toya say in her confessional, I'm not worried about Phaedra, honestly. I'm more worried about King, Quad, Gregory, and Sweet Tea. Like, I want them to be a part of this. And then Contessa lets it be known there might be a restraining order. So Steve's face had me tickled because Steve said, what? A restraining order? So then Simone is like, he filed paperwork, like actual, like a actual formal complaint, and Contessa's like, yeah. And so everyone was like, but there has to be like a physical contact, right? They didn't even touch. And so Contessa ends up saying, well, Gregory said there is such a thing as attempted assault. And so now everybody's like, are you serious? Like everyone was like, oh, this is corny. This is cornball lame stuff. Steve is like street 101, like you don't file no complaint. This Simone was like, this is a bitch move and I don't like it. And I'm with Simone, okay? So then everyone's like, so what do we do now? What do we do now? So then Contessa ends up saying, we talked to Gregory, and Gregory feels like King attacked him unprompted. When Toya started to laugh, I was so tickled. Like, Toya had me tickled. Because Toya, like, the laugh was such a vibe, because it was like, oh, this is wild. This is wild. So then Dr. Damon is like, he sides with King. Like, he's just kind of like, of course, nobody's going to want somebody disrespecting their wife. It's like an unwritten rule. And so then Eugene ends up saying, well, maybe we don't 100% remember things accurately. Everyone has their own memory of what transpired. So then Heavenly presses Eugene and is like, if anybody told Toya to shut the F up, what would you do? Like, what would you do? And then Eugene ends up saying, oh, it would be a problem. And they're like, yeah. And then Heavenly said, just like it would be a problem if anybody was talking about daddy in my face. So then Contessa calling Heavenly out, being like, did she just say if somebody said something about their husband, it would be a problem? So then they flash back to Heavenly being on her YouTube channels, talking about how she believes that Scott is verbally and emotionally abusive towards Contessa. And then they talk about the argument that they had down in Florida, down at the rodeo. And so Scott was like, maybe that only pertains to certain situations, basically pot, meat, kettle. So then Eugene makes it known that they're going to reach out to Gregory and talk to him and see if they can get everybody back on one page. So then the instructor comes out, and it looks like everybody to a certain extent was having fun. I think Cecil and Simone were having the most fun because they were laughing the whole time, and I feel like they had the best like chemistry with dancing. Curtis and Jackie were arguing back and forth. It seemed like some people didn't get their movements correctly, but it looked like everybody was having a fun time, in my opinion. So then Steven said he gonna have to teach Mimi how to do the waltz, and I thought it was cute. Right, y'all. So the next scene we have is with Sweet Tea, Mimi, and Toya. And honestly, I was annoyed with this scene because Toya was trying to give the girl a way back into the group by saying at the end of their conversation, is there a way that you and Quad can have a conversation about boundaries and get to some type of understanding? And her response was like, I don't know, that's up to Gregory. I was like, why is that up to the person that's not getting paid for this show? Like, you are getting paid. Why are you diverting this to a man that's not getting paid for this show? Like, let's be real and put everything into context. Gregory would not be on this show if it were not for Quad and for Sweet Tea. Like, if we're gonna be honest, like, the only reason why Sweet Tea and Gregory are on this show is to be in an adversarial role against Quad. The reason why they are staying on this show is because of Quad. Gregory would not have been on this show without a lady attached to him. This show is featured and centered around the women. Okay? So that's why Quad stayed. It's an ensemble about women doctors. Okay, it's not about their husbands. That's a piece, but that's not. That should have shown Gregory who is valuable. You're only valuable because you got a lady attached to you when it comes to this show. Okay, and so I'm just looking at Sweet Tea like, girl, clearly you want to do this. Clearly, you like the perks of being on this show. Toya is trying to get you a way in. Even Mimi is trying to tell you, take some accountability, give out grace so we can move forward as a group. And you just keep diverting to this immature old man who's going to get you kicked off the show and out of a paycheck. Because even if the ladies don't really see it for Sweet Tea, if production wants her on the show, she will be on the show. And they're just going to have to figure out how to film and keep it pushing. But the only way that she can get herself off this show if she starts to become difficult. And right now, this is what I deem as being difficult, girl. Your husband and that man didn't touch. We're acting like your husband didn't egg on a situation. And I'm glad that they're starting to allude to how Sweet Tea gets out of character, because even though people don't see it for Heavenly, and you are well within your right to see that lady problematic AF at times, but I do believe some of the things that she says on her YouTube channel, and I even believe it more now that Toya is alluding to the fact that Sweet Tea has done some BS, which lends to the narrative that Heavenly is saying that, like, girl, she done put her hands on Simone, she done put her hands on Toya, and she has gotten aggressive, but they won't show it, and the girls still give her grace and still allow her to be around, because I think it's out of place when Simone said last thing, Sweet Tea is out of order, and now you got Toya saying, girl, you have done your share of BS, because I feel like we're not seeing what she has done. Because the way that Contessa, Mimi, and Phaedra wrapped their arms around her and she like started to break down, even though I felt like it was put on, I feel like there's more to this than what's being shown. Because even Contessa, when they were on that boat ride back, was like, yeah, she got a temper. She on hormones. Like, she doing things and we not seeing it. That's all I'm trying to say. Because I feel like it's like if she is on here for next season, they gonna have to start showing the way that she gets. Because I do believe the way that she reacted when on last season, I think it was like episode 3, when she was upset about what was happening.
Y'all be. That's your sister. You can't talk to her like that.
You just upset.
That's your sister. That's your sister. No.
The wedding, that is how she shows up. Like, 'cause she freaked out fast, okay? Fast. So Toya is just kind of like, Toya ends up inviting them to go to this dinner, and she gives her the invitation to the party, and she's just kind of like, so how you been? Sweet Tea ends up saying that she needed time to decompress after what happened, while they were in Key West. Toya then ends up saying, did Greg file that report from a place of anger? And like legit, what did he put in it? Because nothing physical happened. And Sweet Tea ends up saying, well, you had to understand he was at his breaking point. This man took off his shirt and charged at him, and you just got to keep that in mind. And Toya's looking at her like, girl. So then Toya ends up saying, well, how do we always giving you grace, but we can't get these other people grace. And I think a lot of people are from the cast are turned off by Gregory's choice of running to the police, because there's been several physical altercations on this show and nobody has ever filed a charge. Even the British white lady didn't even file a charge or try to file charges against Heavenly, when she was well within her right. Like, Heavenly threw a drink in Carrie's face. They never showed it, but Heavenly threw a drink in Carrie's face when they were filming at the Neela's house that one time. We saw Lisa Nicole Cloud throw a drink at Quad's face. Toya got into it twice. She got into it with Mariah on season 1, and she got into it with Audra during season, I think 9, when she popped that lady in the face. And none of these women filed charges against each other. So I think a lot of them are just like, this is a lame move, because nothing physical even happened. I think everybody would be understanding to Gregory's plight if King actually got his hands on him, but they were able to separate the two, keep them separate, and you left the situation. So why now are we filing charges? All I know is it was just annoying, because then Sweet Tea tries to say that like people haven't moved on, and I'm like, are you talking about your husband? Because I do think that there is resentment on both ends when it comes to Quad and Gregory. I think Quad resents the fact that she was in a marriage with a man that she probably wasn't attracted to, that demeaned her, that spoke down to her, that made her question her self-worth. And she probably hates the fact that how people treated her after leaving said man. I think Gregory is still holding on to the fact that he hates the way that Quad made him feel, that they got physical with each other, and that he never thought that Quad would have the balls enough to leave him. And he always thought that she would be struggling without him. But in fact, she ended up like thriving and surviving to the point where she probably is making more money than him. And I think he hates that. I think he hates that this girl that he felt like he plucked out of the hood is doing way better without him. But you can clearly tell that both of them are still holding on to the hurt feelings that marriage caused. I think Gregory thought he moved on because he moved on to Sweet Tea, but you married this lady, but you're still treating her the same way that you treated Quad, maybe if not worse. And Quad's with King, but yet she's still holding on to the past trauma of what she dealt with in her relationship. And King has mentioned that several times, and it shows up. They both just need to be in therapy, to be honest. Is of Scott at Scott's house with Eugene and Gregory. They're doing their check-in with Gregory. They come in, girl, I saw that they had macaroons. I need to go get me some macaroons. I haven't had a good macaroon in a long time. There used to be this really nice like European bakery where I went to school at. Oh, they used to get my money. They used to get my money, okay? But they're checking in on Gregory, trying to figure out how he is. I thought it was cute to see Layla giving them drinks, and we find out that she juiced the drinks herself, and then she said $5. I said, come on, entrepreneur, right? And so they're like, so how you been? Gregory ends up like kind of being like, well, nobody's checked up on me. And Eugene is like, I like to give people space after these types of situations, because I'm the type of person that would want space in this type of situation. So he's like, okay. So then Eugene ends up asking like, so I heard you went to the police. Is that true? And Gregory's like, why wouldn't I? So I'm like, so Gregory be lying, because you lied on last episode about what King asked you to do when you said, yeah, I did apologize to her. You did not, or apologize in general. On top of that, you said on that YouTube video with your wife that you didn't press charges, but now you saying, why wouldn't I press charges? And then you in your confessional talking about that man charged at me like a maniac. I was just trying to talk to him. I wasn't being disrespectful. And I'm glad production ran them clip back on you where you were like, all I said is you got a big effing mouth, and you giggled, knowing good well that that's disrespectful, because if anybody said that to Sweet Tea, I would hope that you would defend your wife and be like, don't talk about my girl like that. So I'm like, you be lying. You be lying. I don't like it. You lie. And so he's like, why wouldn't I? So then both Scott and Eugene are like, well, Don't y'all have to have physical contact? And so Gregory was trying to get in his definition bag by saying, well, there is a case of simple battery. And Eugene kept asking him, but did he touch you? But did he touch you? And Gregory had to say, no, he did not. And so Eugene's like, okay. So he's just looking at him like, so why are we doing this? So he ends up saying, well, he could get 90 days in jail, probation, or a fine. And so I'm like, so you're only doing this because you got embarrassed. You got embarrassed, and this is why we're doing this. Because if he didn't touch you, then what we doing filing charges? And I watched this with my dad, and I giggled because I was explaining to my dad everything that happened. And we were watching this scene together before he left. And he was just kind of like, so if the man didn't touch him, how he filing charges? Like he's wasting time and resources because the police ain't gonna charge anybody with anything because nobody made contact. And I said, yeah, Daddy, that's what, that's what, and I said, okay, so I'm not crazy because if you guys didn't make physical contact, how are you filing a complaint? It'd be different if that person like spit on you, threw a drink on you. That is all underneath the umbrella of assault. But like y'all were yelling in each other's faces. He charged at you, but they stopped him from touching you. And I think everyone thinks this move is lame and bitch made because they're just kind of like, there's been multiple women on this show that have gotten physical and everyone's been able to apologize and move forward, but nobody has ran to the police. The fact that Carrie, a white woman, didn't run to the police says a lot about you, Gregory. And I would totally be understanding, even though I would probably be on King's side, I would be understanding to Gregory filing charges if King would have physically touched him. Like I told y'all, I thought them girls was going to be on that beach fighting. Like Rima and Megan on Bad Girls Club season 9, dragging each other through the sand. But y'all couldn't get to that point because there was too many people keeping y'all apart. Like, bro, really? 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 Like, I'm so annoyed right now. I'm so annoyed because you can tell that you're only doing this because your feelings got hurt and you want to punish Quad. Because you know, once you file these charges, King can't film with the group because they're going to have to do an HR investigation to make sure everybody, to check the temperature of what's going on. That's the only reason why he did this, because he wanted them not to be able to film, pretty much. And so they're all just kind of looking at him like, so what do you need? Because Eugene ends up saying, I feel like King was defending his wife and you were defending yours. How can we get both of you two in a room together where y'all can talk these things out and move forward? Scott even suggests is like, hey, do you want an apology from Quad? Like, if we make that happen, can things move forward? And he's like, you know what, man? I just had to get my feelings out. So I went home because I was real emotional about the situation. And so I picked up my guitar. When I tell you, when he pulled, I knew when I saw that man with that book bag, I was like, oh, he about to be up to no good. No good. He plays the song. It's called Baby Child. That he named it Baby Child, artist Dr. G. Maybe this is production. Okay. Maybe this is definitely production, where it's called Baby Child, artist by Dr. G, directed by Sweet Tea, label definitely not. Okay, yeah, this is definitely a production shade. He talked about set me free. I'm tired of the BS. Set me free from the BS, the BS, the BS. He said, I gotta be free from the lies. I don't know how Sweet Tea recorded that and was not laughing in that man's face, because I'd have been like, you bugging out right now. you are but I said, this is so embarrassing. And the way that Eugene and Scott were laughing in his face made it worse. Made it worse. He was like, I can't stand somebody lying on me. Yeah. Set me free. Set me free. I'm with Eugene. We need to file charges against Gregory for forcing us to listen to that. And you can tell that Sweet Tea was embarrassed because he was like, here I am trying to stand for justice and stand for truth, and these guys are laughing at me. And she just deadpan is into the camera with the 100-yard stare because she know her man look like a clown right now. This girl... girl, you really do not have any pull in your marriage. Because there's no way I would allow my man to do this song and embarrass me. Because he embarrassing himself. And the fact that you were behind there talking about, great job, Gregory. Great job. Oh, God. Horrible. The thing we have is of the ladies going to Quad's house for her, like, friendship meeting. It was a cute scene. I liked it. Everybody seemed like they was in good spirits. Contessa and Heavenly. I don't know where Heavenly was going, although she looked good. And when she said, it looked like I got good poom poom, I said, yes, girl, it looked like you got good poom poom. Good poom poom, okay? Good poom poom. She looked, Heavenly, the lipo did Heavenly good, okay? Heavenly body was tea. Contessa has a great body, but like this tweet on Twitter said, Contessa is always either overdressed or underdressed for something. I said, I just need that lady to get a good stylist because she don't know what she was like, girl, what you got on? What you got on? You just going to a backyard barbecue. Chill out. So Quad gives them rules basically saying that, no one can talk about the past and everyone has to get a cocktail. So Simone is like, ooh, I like this new Quad because Quad knows how to hold on to a grudge and bring up the old past. When they keep flashing back, is this a bullshit apartment? When she got into it with Toya, had me weak. Because Quad was so angry. And I was like, Quad, it ain't that deep. It's not that deep. You have a very nice penthouse. Well, not penthouse, but townhouse, girl. Calm down. So things move on and they all sit down. They start chanting this whole thing before sitting down, onward and forward. It was cute. So they sit down and they're all asking Quad, like, are you going to come to Toya's anniversary? And they were like, did you get the invitation? And Toya's like, oh my God, it's in the car. I can't wait to give it to you. And Quad is saying, well, due to the circumstances that are happening, basically Gregory filing assault charges against King, she was just like, I don't know. I don't know. We want to be there, but I don't know. And everyone's like, well, no, you need to be there because we want you to be there. Like, we want you to be a part of this, And so Simone brings up how King took accountability. He says, what happened the night before was unfortunate. They were talking about, it was the last day of the couples trip. And he said, what happened at the day before was unfortunate. He also asked that, we need to protect Gregory as much as we're trying to like protect Quad, because these are two people that are humans and have real emotions. And this is not a normal environment that they would be put in. And I was like, the fact that King could acknowledge that to me says that like, he knows that this situation is unreal and unnatural, and he knows he was acting out on that sandbar. And I was like, the fact that he can do that but Gregory can't do that says a lot to me. Says a lot. This man is probably like at least maybe like 20 something years younger than you, and he got more common sense than you. Okay. And so everyone's like, yeah, it was great to hear him be that way. So then I think Contessa ends up asking Mimi, like, you're in this group, like, what did your conversation with Sweet Tea and Toya, like, what was it like? And Mimi basically says, we asked her, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to move forward? Like, what do you want to do? And she really gave us no answer. And so Contessa says, I'm always going to be on Gregory and Sweet Tea's side, but I also feel like we shouldn't be making a big deal out of something that really wasn't a big deal. Adding to the fact that no one put hands on each other. That's why everyone is like, he's making this way bigger than it needs to be. So next thing you know, Toya ends up saying, well, my thing about it is I asked her, like, y'all don't think y'all could be in a room together, you on one side, you on the other side. And she was like, well, I didn't have no malicious intent, but that doesn't mean they don't have it. And so Toya says, all this is telling me that you can't control your behavior, because what do you mean? And she ends up saying, like, if y'all want me to choose, I'm going to choose Quad, because clearly these two people are trying to move forward, and that's the game of reality TV. You can't have such like a harsh stance on something unless it totally like violates this situation. This situation is like y'all had an argument, it almost got physical, but nothing happened. Same with Contessa and Heavenly. It almost got physical, but nothing happened. But you ain't see nobody press charges. You ain't see nobody like do any of that. So it's like you are not trying to move forward. And again, like I keep saying, had King put hands on Gregory, I would totally understand. But the fact that nobody touched you, you didn't get spit on, no one threw a drink in your face, what you pressing charges for? And that's why the charges got dropped. They got dropped because nothing physically happened. And so when they're like, oh my God, did you hear what she said, Quad, that she picks you? Because Quad gets emotional. And I felt like, even though as dramatic as Quad is, I do feel like she meant these feelings, because I do think Quad was really hurt about how the group picked Gregory and Sweet Tea over her last season. That the fact that there's picking her now, I guess she feels like, okay, like, they care about me now. They've put themselves in my shoes and they understand how I was feeling. And I think ultimately Quad just wants to be heard and acknowledged by the group. And so Toya ends up saying her and Quad are in a good place. And she was like, I want to stay that way. And if they don't want to move forward, then it is what it is. So she said, even though we broke the rule about talking about things in the past, she just says, I appreciate y'all and I love all y'all. And they do a group hug. And I thought it was cute. The last scene we got is Jackie going over to Phaedra's house to see how she's doing. Phaedra basically calls Heavenly the devil's daughter. She says that she really wasn't mad at Jackie. She was more so mad at how the situation was shady. Jackie ends up saying, isn't this just like Phaedra to run when like the going gets tough? Like, girl, you are the person that knew everything. You knew Shaq knew Apollo. You knew Apollo was coming. And ultimately, your plan backfired. And that's what it is. Phaedra's plan backfired. To have Apollo feel jealous didn't work because he brought Shireen, which I don't think Phaedra knew about. And Shireen and her got into it and it just didn't go her way. So now she doesn't want to be a part of the group anymore. I'm glad about it because I don't want to see Phaedra no more. Don't want to see Phaedra no more. You know, have fun. Hopefully she won't annoy me too bad on Real Housewives of Atlanta. But kudos to you, girl. Have fun. Because then she ends up saying that she gave so much to this group, more than anybody else has put into this group. You gave us nothing. Shut the hell up, Phaedra. You gave us nothing but Reiki and facial expressions. That's all you gave us. You gave us nothing. Nothing. You so full of it. She is so full of it. That's why I don't feel bad that they came at her, because Phaedra is so full of it, bro. And then when she says, like, once you cross me, it could never go back the same. All the people that you cross, you're the same person that invited Nene's family that she didn't have a good relationship to one of your children's events. You reached out to her family. The same person who was representing someone that was suing Candy. Might I remind you what you did to Candy with the helps of Portia? Which y'all did to Kenya by inviting Walter when her and Walter were in a good place and you laughed at it. You've crossed a lot of people, Phaedra. And now that it's been reciprocated to you, you're supposed to be the Don Dada and they supposed to have reverence. Yeah, y'all, that's it. That is all. And as always, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in them comments below. Subscribe, like the video, and I think that's it. Have a nice day. I'm out, y'all. Peace.